Who's ready for some Apple Bourbon Glazed Ribs? This is a good one. Let's get started. All right, now that we have our St. Louis ribs trimmed up, ready to go, if you need to know how to trim a rack of St. Louis ribs, we're gonna drop the video in. It's gonna be right at the top of the screen here. Click it, watch it. It'll walk you through everything to get your ribs looking nice and pretty, just like this. So now that our ribs are trimmed, like I said, I'm not using a binder today or anything like that. I'm coming in here first with a little bit of our apple rub here. And I want to get a good coat down on this apple rub to give it a good undertone of apple flavor. Now these ribs today are going to be an apple bourbon rib, like I had mentioned, and so we're going to make a nice sauce and glaze at the end to complement the apple rub that we have and the top of the sweet rub. So you can see the lighter color here of our apple rub. So I want to come back a little more color in our sweet rub. This was our original dry rub right here that we first come out with. This rub right here has won me a ton of money. I still have a ton of teams using it, and I'll be truthful, I used to use it on all 4 categories back in the day. I didn't know any better that I needed. I'd add more pepper to it for brisket, but other than that, I run it straight up on everything else. So now that we get that patted in for a little bit of color, I'm gonna come back on top, get some apple rub on top. Now, once we've got a good base coat of apple rub here, now you can kind of see where the thicker fat is coming through here on this rib. I'm gonna put a little bit more there. But once we get that patted in here, you can see it's already starting to get wet in some spots. And I didn't use any kind of a binder today. Now I'm gonna come back with our sweet rub for a little bit of color. This rub right here can be used on popcorn, Bloody Marys, anything like that. It's really, really versatile. I particularly like it on sausage and cheese plates. But if you've got a favorite rub you like, be sure to use it too. Nothing wrong with combining and layering flavors. If you don't have this, use whatever rubs you have. Now, once these are kind of sweated in here, and the rubs adhered to them real good, we've got our Weber sear wood fired up with our royal oak charcoal hickory blended pellets running at 275 degrees. I'm gonna get these on and I'm gonna let them go for an hour and a half without even peeking at them. I wanna get optimal smoke, let them sit in there and get all nice and pretty, and we're gonna get them wrapped up. It might be at the 2-hour mark that we wrap them. We'll just have to see. Always gauge by color, and of course that smear test, seeing if I can wipe the rub off. So let's get them out to our grill here in about 5 minutes and get them on. All right, our Weber sear wood here is fired up. We've got it running at 275 degrees. I'm gonna tell you, these new royal oak pellets here with a hickory and charcoal built in, look at that. That's what I like. All right, let's get these on here. I've got my top rack in here. I'm going on the top rack today. I'm gonna smoke these. I'm gonna bunch them up. Because remember, however you put them is however they're gonna cook. Now, we've got those ribs laid up here. I can already smell the apple from the apple rub here, so I know these ribs are gonna turn out great. Let's get our grill lid shut, set a timer for an hour and a half, come back and check them, kind of see where they are. We'll be back. All right, our ribs on the Weber sear wood here has been on 1 hour and 45 minutes. I let them go about another 15 minutes. When I peeked at them at the hour and a half mark, as you can see, those ribs look gorgeous. Now, you can see that the rub is stuck. It's not rubbing off or anything. So I'm gonna take this rib, see how pretty that is? Now, before I wrap this rib, I'm gonna show you this. You see I've got a sheet pan under here. I've got my foil double layered up. I'm gonna turn this rib bone side down, okay? So let's get my grill lid shut here while I'm doing this. Now, if you see any of the blood that's kind of pushed out of the bones, if you want to get any of that out, you're more than welcome. It's not going to hurt anything whatsoever. Now, I've got some butter bath mixed up here. For everyone that don't know, this is my butter bath. You take a 1/4 cup with 3/4 of a cup of apple juice or juice of your choice or water, whatever you like. You can wrap each slab of ribs with it. You can add anything else you want to the foil, but this already has butter, brown sugar, honey in it, and some spices. And literally all I do is take and pour a little bit on the back of that rib and around, just like that, okay? Now, when you do that, if you're putting brown sugar and butter and honey in the foil anyway, it's gonna melt. I've created this product to speed up the process because it really helps and it absorbs moisture into the rib. So now I'm gonna wrap this rib And the reason I put it in that pan, because if you was not in that pan, liquid would kind of run everywhere. But being you're in that pan, the liquid does not run anywhere at all. You see that? Meat side down, a little bit more in here. Gonna come, get that folded over, pull this back, make sure it's tight, and wrap over. That's all we're doing. These St. Louis ribs are gonna be mighty fine when they're all the way finished. Now they're gonna go back on this grill, and I'm gonna give it an hour and 15 minutes. That will give us a total cook time of 3 hours, 275 degrees on that top rack. Now heat rises, that top rack might be a little bit hotter than the bottom rack because of heat rising, but it's not gonna fluctuate it much. Depending on the grill you're cooking on, your ribs should be finished within 3 to 3.5, 4 hours, depending on how good your airflow is. This Weber Searwood right here does an excellent job, so I believe about a 3-hour rib is what we're gonna need for the tenderness that I like. You can always go fall off the bone if you wanna go longer. I believe fall off the bone ribs are cooked wrong. That's just me. I'm a competition guy, have been all my life. But if you want them fall off the bone, nothing wrong with that. Please make it your way. All right, our apple bourbon ribs have been on 3 hours here. Let's get in here and check them. So I'm gonna bring a slab right here, set it off, open it up. Woo. Now that's a telltale sign those ribs should be done. And that rib is fine for me. I'm gonna pull it out here and let it set right here just like this and let it cool off while we make a glaze. Now if that rib's done, I'd just about be willing to bet this one is done. Now, you see those starting to pop through? Now I'm gonna grab 2 bones over here on this end. You see that wanting to tear through? Now, I've not took a thermopin to these, but let's just go 204. I think that's about where they're gonna be. Damn it, I was off. I can't help it. Sorry, y'all. I'm not perfect, but I took a pretty good educated guess. 206, 100% for me. I'm gonna shut the lid back here. I'm gonna leave our grill running at 275 degrees because I am gonna set a glaze on these ribs. And I'm just gonna let them sit here on the table, kind of cool down a little bit. They'll kind of semi-tighten back up where those bones will stay in them. We're gonna make this glaze them up, get them back on, set it. We're gonna eat some ribs. All right, let's make a glaze up for our apple bourbon ribs. So I've got just 1 little pad of butter in my cast iron sauce pot here. I am gonna use some Crown Apple today, and I'm gonna go with a good heaping 2 tablespoons, okay? Now, this will burn off if you're afraid of that. If you don't have Crown Apple, use any other apple flavored liquor that you have, or bourbon. I'm out of Jack Daniel's apple myself around here. Now I'm gonna use some sweet barbecue sauce. I'm gonna go with a 1/2 cup. Okay. Now let's get that 1/2 cup in there. Now once I get that 1/2 cup in there, I'm gonna take some of that apple habanero glaze of ours, if I can open the bottle, and I'm gonna do a 1/2 cup of it. This is gonna be a thinned out glaze, just a little light coat is all that we're looking for on these ribs. And get that apple in there. All right, once we got that all stirred up, I'm gonna give it a little taste. Oh yeah, that'll work with me. I'm gonna go get this on my Weber Searwood to come up to temp about 15 to 20 minutes, let it melt the butter, and then we're gonna baste it on these ribs, get them back on the pit, let that glaze set. All right, it's been about 20 minutes here. Our sauce is good and heated up. I do have on hot gloves underneath these gloves or I wouldn't be able to touch that. And you'll see when I stir this up, that is a little bit warm right there, just a tad. And we made just a really thin barbecue glaze here. I'm gonna take Look at that rib. Ooh, that is pretty, y'all. Look at that. That's got the color, and we haven't even added sauce to it yet. That is beautiful. That butter bath, can't say it don't do its job. Now look at that rack. It looks just as pretty. A little bit of bone pullback. I can take that thing up. It's got that good old rib wave. Let's lay it over. And remember, this is just a really thin coat sauce. I'm gonna let it run off. I want to get all the edges. Now, we want to turn that over. Be real careful with them. I'm gonna get a little bit of that off right there. Really nice little thin coat of glaze is all that I was looking for on these ribs. Oh yeah. I wish y'all could smell this. I smell like I'm standing in the middle of an apple orchard right now. It's got a really, really tartness smell to it. I think these ribs are gonna be delicious. Now we're gonna give these ribs about 10 to 15 minutes to glaze over. We're gonna come back, get them off, slice them up, and give them a try. All right, our apple bourbon ribs have been glazing about 15 minutes. Whoa, look at that. You see that sauce give them a little bit of color, and I almost wanted to dry them like they would be a dry rib. And so, just look at that color right there. That is what we're looking for. Apple flavored, not so saucy or anything, just a perfect rack of ribs. Look at this right here. You get that rack off and it's got that old pretty wave right there. Those are two beautiful racks of ribs right here. Let's let them cool down, slice them, and taste them. Because if they taste half as good as they smell, we've got a winner. All right, now that our ribs are off the grill and I can handle them, look at that. It's got that traditional wave. I'm gonna lay it over my finger like a brisket, and it's right here just wanting to break right now. If I keep doing it, it's gonna break. That rib is tender right where it needs to be. I can pick this one up and do the same thing. You've seen me put my Thermopin in it. I guessed 204, it did hit 206. I'm not always right, believe it or not. My wife will even tell you that. So just to recap, we took 2 slabs of St. Louis style ribs. We rubbed them down in our apple rub and our sweet barbecue rub. We put them on our Weber sear wood, fired up with royal oak, charcoal, hickory infused pellets, let them go for an hour and 45 minutes till the rub was stuck to them, and then we wrapped them up in butter bath. Our butter bath, we mixed it with apple juice, a 1/4 cup to 3/4 of a cup of the apple juice anyway, shook it up and put it on this rib. It's got the butter, it's got the brown sugar, it's got the honey, it's got the spices in it. It does everything. You've seen the wonderful color when it come out of the foil. And now that we sauced it up with that thin sauce, we almost made this rib a dry rib, but we left it a little bit damp. This is gonna be a really, really good, flavorful eating rib. So the last thing to do is get in here and cut it and give it a try. Now I'm gonna go straight down the bone here. Look at that. Now I'm gonna get one of these right here. I want y'all to look at this. Look at that juicy in that rib right there. That's what we're looking for. Still juicy, still got integrity, right? But look at this. I can take and tear that right off the bone. Just what we need to do. Y'all, that is delicious. That might be my favorite apple flavored rib recipe that I have done. The bourbon really highlights it up a little bit, or whiskey, whatever you'd like to call it. It really gives it an ump with the apple rub and the barbecue sauce and the apple habanero glaze. It's a really good rib. Be sure to give it a try at your next cookout or backyard party. Your fans will be sure to love it. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, and of course YouTube. I'll see you next week with another video. This is good.